Good afternoon from BMW and Porsche of Ocala. I'm Scotty, one of the BMW and Porsche product geniuses over here, and today we have the pleasure and honor of recording this beautiful 2010 Ferrari 458 Italia. And let's go ahead and begin here. Now in 2010, the Ferrari 458 Italia was introduced as a successor to the F430. Absolutely glorious car, and it was an improvement in every conceivable way. Some of those, of course, being safety, performance, build quality. But like the F430 before it, it still retains that beautiful mid-engine V8 layout. And let's go ahead and take a look back here. Now the 458 derives its name from its 4.5-liter V8, designated the F136 engine. Now this engine generates up to 562 horsepower at 9,000 RPM, so amazing 9,000 RPM redline for this engine here, and 398 foot-pounds of torque at 6,000 RPM. And of course, this handmade engine gives out an amazingly intoxicating exhaust note that we're going to hear now. An absolutely intoxicating sound. And of course, the power made by this marvelous made V8 is going to be sent to the rear wheels via a 7-speed double clutch, automatic, or manual selectable gearbox here, as well as a limited slip differential system. And of course, some of the design aspects of this car are of course gorgeous, but also very functional. And of course, to feed that massive V8, we're going to have lots of air feeding into that engine. Some of the sources of that air are going to be located on both the driver and passenger side quarter windows right over here, as well as the much larger intakes located along the body lines right over here, on both sides, of course. And of course, this car was designed by Pininfarina, one of the world's most famous and renowned car designers. So not only do you expect this car to be beautiful, but also very functional. And of course, some of that design and functionality still transitions over to the front. Now, the front of the 458 actually has Aeroelastic Wings, which are located right over here on both the driver and passenger side. Now, these actually warp depending on the speed that you're going at to help lower the drag of the car while also creating downforce. Now, at 120 miles an hour, those are able to actually deform enough to generate up to 300 pounds of downforce on this car. Incredibly capable. And of course, some of the more useful features on the car right over here, we see the headlights. Of course, these are going to be LED daytime running lights. And of course, LED turn signals right over here. And these are going to be standard bi-xenon headlights that do turn up to 15 degrees either direction as you're heading along a dark country road or anything like that. So it really gives you the great visibility while you're traveling at those speeds. And the turn signals in the rear are also LED as well, which we saw in the back just a moment ago. Now, the rims on this car are absolutely stylish and gorgeous as well. Very simplistic styling on the car, but really don't take much attention away. Absolutely sharp. We're greeted with 5-spoke forged alloy rims. And of course, 2-piece carbon ceramic rotors with 6-piston calipers in the front. And 4-piston carbon ceramic rotors, as well as calipers in the rear. And these combine to allow for an incredible stopping distance of only 107 feet. And now we're going to go ahead and come to the interior of the car. Now at the interior of the 458, the interior of the 458 is absolutely gorgeously styled. Of course, features much of the same styling characteristics as it did in the outside, not only being very luxurious and stylish looking, but also very functional. The interior of the 458 was actually designed in part in partnership with Michael Schumacher, one of the very most famous Formula One Grand Prix drivers. He has incorporated over 91 wins in his Formula One driving career. So, of course, a lot of the things that he's learned through driving all those years are going to be incorporated inside the 458. Of course, the interior of this car is going to be greeted with a very nice charcoal black leather interior with the Corsa red contrast stitching, as we can see all throughout the car. And the leather continues all the way throughout the dashboard. Gives a very sharp styling sense. Now, a really cool part of the functionality of this car is actually going to be the incorporation of a lot of the day-to-day functions, such as turn signals and horn and such, being located on the steering wheel, as opposed to any of the dashboard controls or anything on stocks or anything like that. So sounding the horn is actually going to be just located to the left and right-hand side of the steering wheel, but just by pressing these little buttons right over here. And the turn signals are also located right over here, as opposed to stocks located on the left or right-hand side. So as we can see, that one turns on that one. And this one, of course, turns on the right side. So pretty cool stuff there. Even a high beam control is located right over here. Just by pressing it forward can give you a flash, or pulling it towards you would actually keep it on, and pressing it forward again would just quickly turn it off. It's a really cool design aspect, and a lot of it is very functional, so you never have to remove your hand from the steering wheel. But a lot of this actually was also incorporate the fitment of the paddle shifters located right over here, which are located mounted on the steering column itself, as opposed to typically found just on the steering wheel. So, of course, to help with all that, they did move all those controls onto the steering wheel instead. And, of course, there's many other buttons, which we're going to talk about right over here. Now, even though this is truly a race car for the road, you don't have to sacrifice any of the creature comforts located on this car. Let's say you're going along a very bumpy kind of road and you want to have a more comfortable ride. They actually feature this button, once again, right in quick proximity of the driver. Just by hitting this little button right over here, we can see bumpy road mode is set onto the car, which of course softens up the suspension and dampening system, giving it a much more comfortable ride. But even on the right-hand side, you even think, a lot of people are actually surprised this car even has a radio, but you're actually greeted with a lot of different functionality right over here, which is controlled just by this little dial right over here. So right now we're listening to FM radio. If I want to change what I want to do, I just hit main menu right over here. And we're greeted with the navigation system, which we can just go ahead and just guide me home. Where am I now? My trips, destination entry. Or we can kick it over to the right-hand side and get immediately to the map. Hitting main menu again would allow me to select from radio, which we were before. We can see we're greeted with AM, FM, as well as satellite radio. Very interestingly, even in 2010. Pretty cool stuff. Of course, we can come over here to medium. We can see we're greeted with a hard disk drive, as well as a CD. As well as Bluetooth phone pairing. We can go ahead and pair that up right away without any issues. Now, AC controls in this car are actually very premium as well. This car actually comes with 2-zone automatic climate control, which has very easy controls. Of course, temperature on my side, or on the passenger side as well. Of course, we have the actual AC right over here. Or if we want to keep things just separate, just make it nice and easy, we can set it for mono. We can also adjust where we want the air to come from using this little dial right over here. Same thing on the passenger side. And we also have your air circulation right over here, as well as front windshield and rear windshield defroster. And now that we're more familiar with some of the luxury aspects of this car, we're going to come back to more of the sporting driving aspects of this vehicle. Of course, this being the more race car for the road over here. And some of that includes some of the things on the steering wheel. Once again, this one's going to be the Mannantino switch. Now, it allows you for all these different drive modes right over here, of course, including wet weather, sport, race, of course, traction control, as well as fully disabling traction control and stability control. Now, what's really nice about this car is as you change those driving modes, we can actually see that on the left side digital display right over here, and actually shows us exactly what's being done when we change those drive modes. So upon entering race, we can see traction control has allowed us a little bit loosened up right over there. The E-diff is on medium. Of course, the dynamic chassis control is on medium. Just allows you to really control everything on the car. And of course, when you disable traction control, it lets you to see that actually it's fully disabled now. And of course, if we hold this all the way in this position right over here, fully disables everything. And we can see our traction control as well as stability control is fully turned off. And we get all those warnings right there on the dash. But we're just going to come back to sport right over here. And of course, you are featured with a lot more of those features using this little controller right over here. Now, of course, we can hit main and select from whatever we want to choose. It's pretty cool stuff. And we can see exactly what's being done. Or we can hit main. We can come over here to setup and allow us to adjust some of the things, such as even the time of the car, setting up the vehicle settings, languages, dimming lights, everything like that. It's all controlled from this little left side right over here. We can also come over here to status and see our oil temperature, as well as coolant temperature, which is pretty cool right there. When coming back to main, we can come over here and check out our trip computers. So once again, just giving you a lot of the race car aspects right at the reach of the driver's hand without having to really remove anything from the steering wheel. So pretty cool stuff. Also located, once again, to really show up that racing heritage, we can come right over here to this little plaque located way on the right-hand side of the car right over here, which is a nice little metal plaque that informs the owner of the car, the 31 Formula race car wins that Ferrari currently holds at the time in 2010. So pretty cool stuff there. Now, to actually put this car in a drive, a lot of people have a lot of questions because we can come right over here to the central tunnel, which are greeted with a lot of very interesting buttons. But right now, none of those are really going to do anything for us. To actually put the car into drive, we're going to place our foot on the brake, which, of course, very nice aluminum pedals down below in the footwell. We're going to go ahead and turn off the parking brake, which we do have an auto hold feature right over here in this little button. But to disable, we're just going to go ahead and pull this button towards us. We'll see the parking light flash for a moment. And then the car is now in neutral. Now, to put the car into first gear, we're actually just going to pull the right-hand paddle. And we see the car is in first gear. And we're also greeted with the auto. Now, if we wanted to drive the car in manual mode, now we're going to come over to those central driveline tunnels. And if we were to hit auto again, now we're in full manual mode and we're on our own for shifting through the gears. I'm going to kick it back into auto. And, of course, to enter in reverse, we're actually going to hit the R button right over here. And of course, that would just kick us into the reverse gearing. And of course, we're also greeted with the park distance control for the front and rear. Really nice to see of this car. But for now, we're just going to go back into neutral. And to put it in neutral, it's going to be a little hard to show you. We're going to go ahead and pull both the left and right paddle at the same time. And now we're in neutral. And of course, we're able to rev the engine in this mode and give a little sound of the car. We've already heard it in the outside. Marvelous sounding engine as it is on the outside as it is on the inside. Truly remarkable. And coming back to that central driveline tunnel, we are greeted with a couple more features right over here. And a lot of questions always get asked about this PS button, which is actually going to stand for Power Start, more commonly known as Launch Control. Now, pressing this little guy will actually allow us to engage launch control, which is going to give us that miraculous 0 to 60 time of about 3.0 seconds. Truly amazing, especially to see in a naturally aspirated car such as this one. It's also going to allow us to have a quarter-mile time of about 11.0 seconds. And of course, as mentioned before, we do have your reverse gearing right over here, and of course, automatic transmission selector right over there. Of course, down below that, we are going to have the one-touch window controls right over here, which is going to control, of course, passenger as well as driver side windows, all in just one quick touch of a button. Same thing for raising it back up. Pretty cool stuff there. And of course, the Glovebox Release button is actually a little hidden guy right over here. So when I hit that, the glove box is opened up electronically. And of course, we're greeted with your CD player, lightning cable, USB input, as well as a hidden little cubby to keep your paperwork, as we can see, which is being used for right now. And of course, we're going to close that up in just a moment here. And now we're going to transition actually into the driver's footwell, where we're greeted with a couple more hidden little buttons right over here. Let's see if I can get the camera in on some of those. So right down over here, we're going to be greeted with how to pop the front trunk, also referred to as a frunk by some people, as well as how to pop the gas cap in the rear as well. But the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and pop this little guy right over here, so we can take a look at the cargo space. Also, the engine bay is actually, to pop that is actually located right over here. And we're going to go ahead and come to the front of the car and show you exactly how to open up the frunk. And now at the front of the car, in order to just open up the trunk right over here, we're greeted with a little red tab that's right over here. We're going to push that over towards the passenger side and just give this hood a gentle lift. A little harder to do one-handed here. And of course, the interior of this car is actually quite spacious for what it is. This is actually going to be 8.1 cubic feet of cargo space right over here. We're also greeted with the roadside assistance kit located on the left side, as well as the first aid kit located on the right side. This car is also going to come with the battery tender that we have located right over here, as well as an indoor car cover located in this beautiful red little baggie right over here. So plenty of space on this car. So it's a very practical car if you are bringing it maybe on a nice little short trip right over there. So pretty cool stuff. And of course, we're going to wrap up this video, and I thank you for coming along over here and following me on this video. It was truly a pleasure and an honor to do this. And of course, in conclusion, the Ferrari 458 is truly an amazing car that pushed Ferrari's reputation as one of the greatest manufacturers of road-going race cars, and even further helped open up the doors of future Ferrari models like the successor to this car, which is the 48 GTB. But the naturally aspirated, untainted rawness of this vehicle will surely go down as history as one of Ferrari's greatest achievements in its manufacturing business. And if you do have any questions regarding this car, please call us or email us. Our information will be down in the description down below. Other than that, we hope you all have a great day, and we hope to hear from you soon over here at Porsche and BMW of Ocala. Take care.